place to escape all of your troubles and issues on Earth.
Everybody tries to make sure you feel safe, happy, and enjoy yourself while in the city.
Hey, get off my lawn! Yeah!
Well, mostly everybody.
We offer tours of our city, which include exclusive glimpses of our government building, which are typically unavailable to normal citizens.
We cordially invite you to stay at the Space Place Hotel, located in between the Earth and the Moon, and have a chat with our elected officials to get an even better idea of what life is like. That's given they're not in a very important meeting.
Sup, homies?
Now, if you decide you don't want to leave Vessel, that's just fine, because anyone who would like may choose to stay in an apartment. Well, actually, not everyone can just get one. There's a limit to how many people could. You know, I should probably go talk to the manager.
So pack your bags and come on over to Vessel.
Our city is located underground in a magma chamber connected to 2 lava tubes surrounding it. It is conveniently located so that regolith above the city protects all of the citizens from micrometeorites on the surface. In comparison to other locations on the moon, Vessel is about 10 kilometers west of the Shackleton crater, which also happens to be the location of our solar outpost, which generates electricity for the city.
In Vessel, daily life is very schedule-oriented, and during the work week, citizens are very focused on their work and don't spend too much free time with other people. Once the work for the week is done, though, the whole city starts to have fun by spending time going to the park or to a friend or family's apartment.
In the city, there is a recreational area located behind the residential zone. In it, there is a path of trees which are boundaries to the park. There's also a pond with flower beds surrounding it, which forms a pathway for citizens to walk around. A number of benches are also placed around the park so residents can relax and enjoy their free time.
On Earth, there are many different issues and dangers which threaten life there. So, Vessel is the perfect escape from all of that. The community is very friendly, and we use our resources very efficiently so that all of our citizens have what they need.
In our city, one of the futuristic features is the telescope up in our observatory. This piece of technology is very important to our Science Research Lab, IRLT. This is because the telescope enables our scientists to observe the stars and constellations more in detail and more efficiently. This is because there is a system built into the telescope which identifies the constellations and can track the movement just by having an image.
Vessel, one of the infrastructural features that is unique compared to Earth is our school. With Vessel Academy, it is very different because it teaches scholars for all levels, pre-K through college. It is also unique from other schools because it gives more liberty to the students to choose what they want to learn more about.
Since the moon has limited resources, collecting them is very critical. For extracting regolith, it is a simple open cast mining system where we mine into the ground to obtain regolith. The water extraction process is a little more complicated because it involves a process called solar water distillation. This is when energy from the sun is applied onto the surface, and once the water absorbs the heat, it evaporates. We then trap the vapor in a container made of regolith and transport it back to the city where we refreeze it using filters.
In the city, we use our lunar resources for a variety of things, but regolith is the most important because it is the foundational material used in constructing all of the pathways and buildings around our city. Water is also critical to Vessel because it is very important for drinking, hygiene, etc. These are super useful because one of the challenges our city faces is the limited resources that we have on the moon.
The critical point of the whole project was the model. It took lots of planning and work to build, but eventually it all paid off. We had to figure out what our next goal was, and then start figuring out how we were going to work on it. The next step was to start building and testing to see how it would work in the whole scheme of things. Once our original model was complete, we immediately started to begin to make changes and improve on it.
In building Vessel, mechanical and civil engineering were essential. Mechanical engineering helped with all of the mechanisms that we needed to have the ability to survive the moon's terrain and how that could fit into the way our city functions. Specifically, our mechanical engineers design and build anything in the city which uses power for its functions, such as the solar outpost on the surface. Civil engineering was key in that it was used in designing and constructing all of the foundational structures across the city. An example of something that these engineers would specifically design is the railroad system which goes all the way through the city.
In the process of building our city, there were certain trade-offs we had to make so that we could ensure every citizen's safety. Since we decided Vessel's location would be underground, there are not going to be a lot of citizens who get exposure to outside the city. But the magma chambers also protects everyone from some of the dangers on the surface, such as radiation. On the moon, there are several things we have to sacrifice to gain something, and lots of times it is to benefit the people more long-term.
This is Jamel.
How you doing?
So Jamel was the first person to actually live on Vessel. Him and his cousin Jamela. You're all probably wondering, why is being the first to live on Vessel so significant? And you know, that's a very good question. Why are these two really here today? The answer is, they know all there is to know about Vessel. Isn't that right, guys? Jamel, I'll ask you the first part of the question since your cousin seems rather, occupied. What was the reason for Project Vessel being initiated in the first place?
Okay, so here's what happened. In the summer of 2083, the problem of pollution still hadn't really been figured out yet, and Earth wasn't looking very good. It was becoming popular all over the news, so 8 United Nations ambassadors gathered to form a plan.
Now, Jamal, can you explain when exactly did people start working on Vessel, and how long did it take for it to be completely finished being built?
Huh? Wait, what?
Can you explain the history of the city?
Sure. After they assembled, the ambassadors of an executive decision that they were going to build a lunar colony. They began to work on Vessel not even half a year after their meeting, and by 2100, they had begun to make great progress. In 2102, Vessel was officially open to the public.
Thanks for telling everyone a little of the many things you guys know about Vessel. Thanks.
What do you mean by everybody?
Well, everybody watching.
Like on TV?
What do you think my interview is?
Well, that's something where I'd be on TV.